Hey gang, well, as you can see, motor's out. Taking a motor out, I've done motor extraction videos before, so I didn't figure I needed to do that. Let's turn around here, we'll take a look at the motor. It is sitting on its top. I took the air filter assembly and the screen off so that it would sit level. And right here's your oil pump. You don't need to worry about doing anything with it before you take the cover off, but before you put the cover back on, you have to take these off, pull that cap off, pull the pump out, set it down, and then you have to get that pump aligned just right when you're putting everything back together, and I'll show you that when the time comes. If you're lucky, you can save your seal. This seal is still in good shape. It's not a very old motor. And I have to take the governor arm off now, or the governor rod, not the rod but the arm. When you take it off, mark it. I don't know if you guys can see that little shiny spot there. I marked right where the orientation needs to be. Just makes it a lot easier when you're putting things back together. You're not having to guess and reset and do all the fun happy crap to get it back to being copacetic with governing properly, since we are, after all, replacing the governor. So let me pop that oil pan off, and then we'll take a look inside. Hopefully I can save the seal, so stay tuned. Well, I hope you guys are happy. I had to shut Blondie off in order to start the camera back up. Okay, I've got it broke loose. We just lift straight up off on it, and when we do, we should have a bunch of bits and pieces of the I just lost a pin. It's the oil pump pin. There's the oil pump pin there. It goes right down in that slot, and it goes into the oil pump. I'm going to put it back in the oil pump hole. I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, here's the oil sump area, okay, and here's the oil pump right under. This rod spins via the cam and pumps your oil. So that's why you have to take the pump out, so that you can get this aligned right with that before you put everything back together. And I didn't wear any gloves. Now I'm going to show you the governor gear that has blown up. We'll have to find the pieces to it too. Can't leave those in there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is this, guys? You see that? Huh. It almost looks like a push rod. It is a push rod. It's a destroyed push rod. Well, now I'm going to have to pull the heads. That's bizarre. The thing's... Ah, I see it. No, I don't. Sorry. It's in there. Well, how in the world would a push rod pin get into the crankcase? Can anybody tell me that? Looks like it's been in there a while. This engine may be hurt worse than I thought. Alright, that's disheartening right there. The engine runs. You guys heard it run yesterday. Huh. I will pop the valve covers off and take a look and see if we're missing a push rod. That is bizarre, that there would be a push rod somewhere where it can't be. You know what I'm saying? How in the world would a push rod, it's not the oil pump rod, for the oil filter, it's there. No, I'm about 90% sure that is a push rod. Bizarre. It's been floating around in there. Alright, anyway. Let me cut this for a minute, right after I show you guys where the governor is and what's supposed to be there and what isn't. Alright, get this off of here. That push rod's really got me confused. Here's the governor gear, okay? There's supposed to be weights on either side of this. And then when this moves up and down, as the engine speed increases or decreases, it opens and closes those. It's supposed to look like that. That does not look anything like that. So we'll get that replaced, but that push rod in the crankcase, really bizarre. So give me a couple minutes. I'm going to tear the valve covers off and take a look and see if maybe this engine had a problem before and was repaired and they just never retrieved, and that wouldn't surprise me, and they just never retrieved the piece of the push rod that they couldn't find. How strange. Alright, give me a couple minutes, be right back. Okay, there's side one. There's the intake push rod and the exhaust push rod, and they are both there. And that's definitely what this is. This is definitely a push rod. And that thing is just sitting right down in there. So now we're going to pull that valve cover, see what we got over there. Sit tight. That engine ran. And it sounded like it was running good. Intake valve push rod is gone. And the exhaust valve push rod is bent all to heck. Let me pull that thing out and I'll show you guys. Stay tuned. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to order more parts. Can you guys see that? So now I'm going to pull the head, check the condition of the cylinder. It doesn't look like I damaged the cam. I'll get the rest of the oil out of there. The only thing I can guess that happened was when the governor blew, that it threw pieces over onto the cam, caught on the cam, went between the cam and the tappet, and just hammered the intake and exhaust valves on this cylinder. Incredible. Well, I hope I don't have any more damage than that. And somewhere down in here I've got another piece of a push rod. So I guess, even though I said today I was going to repair this engine, it's not going to get done today because I've got to order parts. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So since I've got to order parts, I'm going to go ahead and order a oil pan gasket and a new oil pan seal. I don't think I did any damage to the rockers themselves. They look fine. Let me pull this other one off real quick. You can see the rockers here. And the rockers look just fine. Incredible. What baffles me is that the thing ran and it sounded fine. You guys heard it yesterday when I was riding it back here to the shop. course, this one has the aluminum push rod, so I'm sure it's fine too. All right, bizarre. Wow. Didn't expect that kind of carnage, guys. I really didn't. Let me just set these back in place. I know you're just looking at me looking down at the engine. Sorry about that. Well, I'm befuddled. Valves themselves look okay. I do see where it looks like it may have even pushed out when it hyperextended the valve train on this side. It looks like it also pushed the valve guide, the exhaust valve guide, into the exhaust valve a little bit. We'll see if you can see that. There's just the tiniest little bit of shiny. Let me try to pinpoint it for you guys. Give me just a second here. Let me get a pointy thing. Here's a pointy thing. Okay, let's look down in there. Whoops! I need my light to stay up there. Okay. Whoop! There's the valve guide. Okay, see that little shiny bit right there? Looks like it when it overextended the valve train and bent the rods and everything, it pushed the valve guide into the exhaust port. So I'll have to also inspect the intake. Wow, this whole engine is just going to have to come apart big time. And I'll check the pistons and do all that. That's a shame. But in the meantime, we are not out of luck with the Poulan, because I do have a excuse me, a 16.5 horse single that I'm just going to throw in there for the time being. It should certainly power this just fine. Wow, I'm kind of bummed out. What I thought was going to be an easy fix, not so much. I hate it when you bend your push rods. And no, I'm not going to try to straighten that one out. I'll make sure nothing else is awry with it, and then I'll just order two more push rods and fish out all the parts out of the block. I'm going to pop this head off and get a good close look at. Looks like I can get the intake manifold off with just 4 bolts, so that won't be too painful. Well, plus the brackets, 4, 5, 6 bolts. Bummer! Sometimes the plan comes together. Other times you get shot in the foot, and this time I got shot in the foot. But I'm glad it's my motor and not somebody else's motor, because I don't like giving people bad news like that. I'd rather the bad news fall on me. Fan-freaking-tastic. Isn't this just golden? Golden gravy. Well, I guess that changes gears. I should have two LED strip lights on the front porch. So I guess I'll go get those and sit down at the computer and order parts after I go through this head. The other head looks fine. I don't see anything awry with it at all. I mean, you know, we pulled the cover off. It's the vacuum side that the fuel pump pulls vacuum from. But we saw both those push rods are in and they're fine. So, let me get a flashlight down in there. I'll show you guys the difference. It's kind of hard to see. Let me point to that valve seat if I can. If I can get that light to stay. Or valve guide rather. See right there? I know it's kind of dark. It is not pushed out anywhere near as far as that one. See how pronounced that one is? So I definitely hyperextended that valve train. The cam looks alright. Doesn't look like I did any damage to the cam. The tappets look okay. Incredible. Never in my life would I have thought that a piece of that governor would fly off, come over here and get between the tappets and the cam and cause that kind of damage. Dirty little rat. Isn't that something else? That's incredible. I don't see any more damage anywhere else. So, alright, well, I'm going to go get my lights. And I'm going to put my lights, well, you guys see my big overheads here. The two 8-foots. The two that I'm going to put up are going to go, where's my finger? Are going to go this way. One on one side and one on the other. And I'm going to see how they look that way. But we're not talking about lights right now. We're talking about this busted ass engine. Stuff happens. But like I say, I will grab that 16.5 horse out from underneath the engine storage over there. Set it on the bench run it, make sure it's good to go. Throw that on the pool and call it good for a little while till we get this one put back together. That's a shame. That's a shame. So I guess next week, providing the parts come in, we will revisit this Intek 22 horse. Usually it's just the governor that goes, and then you're not, I mean, that's it, just the governor. That took out both of those push rods. Snapped one of them plumb in half. Alright, I'm done. I'm just in a state of disbelief right now. Alright guys, I'll see you in a little bit. If you guys are not subscribed, you can click right here. If you guys are subscribed, check out my last video. See ya.